Life is Strange. Double Exposure. Who are Safiya and Moses? Life is Strange. Double Exposure brings Max back as the protagonist, set years after the events in Arcadia Bay. With a new school, a new location, and new friends, players may be curious about the unfamiliar faces she's met. Safiya and Moses, in particular, may capture their interest. Life is Strange. Double Exposure is only a few weeks away, although those who pre-purchase the Ultimate Edition will gain advanced access 2 weeks ahead of the full release. Since Double Exposure was announced at the 2024 Xbox Games Showcase on June 9th, fans have been eager to see how this new entry in the franchise will unfold. As a direct sequel to 2015's Life is Strange, this excitement is understandable, especially since some may have thought Max Caulfield's story had already reached its conclusion. Safiya Llewellyn-Fayyad, better known as Safi, is a character who will appear in the upcoming game Life is Strange, Double Exposure. She is an aspirational poet, a huge people person, and Max's closest new friend. Safiya Llewellyn-Fayyad, more commonly referred to as Safi, is Max's closest friend at Caledon University. Located in Vermont, this prestigious arts and science college is headed by Safi's mother, Dr. Llewellyn-Fayyad, the university's first female president. Despite this theory being unconfirmed, some believe Yasmin is a fan of Max's photography and played a role in recruiting her to the school. Max hinted at this in the Double Exposure gameplay reveal, mentioning that Yasmin took a chance on her when she was in a bad place. Striving to bring Max out of her shell and find her roots in Vermont, Safi always has Max's back. She is a true people person and loves getting to know those around her better and really dig beneath the surface of what makes them tick. Safi is the daughter of Caledon's president, Yasmin. She could be of Welsh and/or Arabic descent due to the origins of her name. Safi is seen watching the stars with Max and Moses on a balcony in the Caledon University on a snowy night. As they listen to music and drink hot chocolate, Max learns that Safi has some good news, but does not want to share it. Max is determined to find out. After she unsuccessfully tries to convince Safi to explain the news, she asks Moses for help, who gives her a bottle cap and tells her that whoever has it must do as they're told. Max slips it into a candy box and tricks Safi into taking it. Safi discovers her and Moses's prank and she finally reveals the news. She met a publisher who is interested in her poems. Upon receiving a phone call, Safi leaves. She then heads off into the woods for unknown reasons. Max finds Safi sitting on a bench, but upon touching her, she drops her camera and falls to the ground. She had been shot. As Moses catches up, the two are horrified by the death of their friend. Max grieves for Safi while Moses takes out his phone and calls the authorities. Moses Murphy is a new character who will appear in the upcoming game Life is Strange, Double Exposure. Not much is currently known about him. Details about how Moses Murphy fits into Max's life are limited, but it appears Safi introduced Max to him. What is known so far is that Dr. Fayyad recruited Moses to Caledon University, even though he initially had doubts about the school. According to the Life is Strange YouTube channel, Safi quickly befriended him and assuaged his worries by demonstrating that she understood his needs. Though the two have very different fields of interest, with Moses being an astrophysicist, they eventually forged a strong bond. He currently has an office on campus. Moses displays a fascination of astrophysics and how rules work. He also has a very visible nerdy side, loving games, sci-fi, manga, anime, even having action figures. His fondness for Safi is shown when she is murdered, leaving Moses devastated. Moses also appears to be a good confidant to Max, as she is shown telling Moses about her powers and her past experience with them, especially her involvement with the storm that once ravaged Arcadia Bay. Moses is shown watching the stars with Max and Safi on a balcony in the Caledon University on a snowy night. As they listen to music and drink hot chocolate, Max learns that Safi has some good news, but does not want to share it. Max is determined to find out. After she unsuccessfully tries to convince Safi to explain the news, she asks Moses for help, who gives her a bottle cap and tells her that whoever has it must do as they're told. Max slips it into a candy box and tricks Safi into taking it. Safi discovers her and Moses's prank and she finally reveals the news. She met a publisher who is interested in her poems. Upon receiving a phone call, Safi leaves. After chatting with Moses, Max sees the moon and decides to take a photo, but she suffers head pains upon doing so. Max decides to head home. Though Moses offers to give her a ride, she declines. Moses finds her after she falls unconscious from taking a photo of an owl. Noticing footprints going into the forest, Max senses something is off and follows them, with Moses right behind her. As Moses catches up, the two are horrified by the death of their friend. Max grieves for Safi, while Moses takes out his phone and calls the authorities. Demo 2. Max visits Moses at the dorms as a detective named Vince Alderman is busy looking around. She learns that Moses hid Safi's camera in his office out of fear that it would fall into the hands of the police, leading the two to realize that Moses made a mistake doing this, as the camera has evidence of the murder case. Vince then comes over and explains that maintenance tech is coming over to unlock Moses's office. Following an unfriendly conversation with Max, Vince speaks to Moses. Moss later meets alternate Moses, who is at work on a telescope in his office. After a musical ornament on a nearby Christmas tree gets her attention, Max criticizes Moses about it. As she indirectly tries to ask him about hiding places, the telescope almost falls, but Moses catches it in time. He asks Max to get an Allen wrench from Carla. Not having enough time to do that, Max returns to Timeline 1, finds the wrench that she's looking for, and goes back to Timeline 2 to give it to Moses. After she asks about the writing on the wall, Moses explains that it has something to do with Safi. He then decides to make tea for Max, though she travels back to Timeline 1 after learning that the cabinet may be where the camera is hidden.